Speaking of NCAA athletes,
yes.
Weini Kelati.
What is going on?
New Mexico freshman.
She's a beast.
She's back.
Yeah. Ran unattached at the Lobo Invitational 5K for New Mexico. Ran it in a meet record 16:59.8.
Yeah.
Won it. Didn't race with New Mexico, who still won that race, but she beat the previous record held by UTEP All-American Risper Camillo, 17 minutes, 0.4. So, I mean, this girl, we knew she was amazing heading into New Mexico. She won for Locker Nationals in 2015, but this really sets the bar really, really high. And she's older. She's going to come in. She's really what could be considered a college junior, maybe at this point. She's going to turn 21 by like December, I think. So, but they get a steal out of Weini Kelati.
I mean, we've been waiting for this moment. I mean, Team VA, our Nolan Jez, our Virginia MileSplit webmaster's probably going crazy because just the amount of potential she has is incredible. The leap she made her junior year of high school from her sophomore year was huge. And then her senior, and after that amazing year, we're like, what's next? And of course, nothing, right? Like she had to take that year off due to how old she was. Now she's back in college. This first race, the sky's the limit. I don't think anyone really knows how her season's going to unfold here because she's been out of this for a year. Now she's there in New Mexico. She's going to accomplish some really great things. I think everyone is super excited to see how that season's going to play out for her.
FlowTrack, I think, talked with her coach and said that, what workouts has she been doing to get ready for this moment? And he said that basically they've just been running miles.
Wow.
No workouts
That's
yet
impressive.
for Weini Kelati. So
there was this famous interview JoJo had years ago with her where through that first year when she was here, she couldn't speak English well enough to be able to communicate with her high school coach that she could handle more mileage. And so that first season when she didn't have the best year was she didn't know how to communicate that, and that next year that leap came simply by running more. That she got that much better. Now we're seeing the same thing at the college level, just to another degree. She's a phenomenal talent. This is going to be an awesome year for her.
She has a huge group of girls to push her and work together there, so that's also really, really helps when you have that team around you to push you through what you can do.
And we got to shout out Nolan Jez, Team VA, Team Weyni for life. So
That's right.
VA Homer coming in hot on Twitter today with Loudoun Valley, but Wayzata, let's go. Stay woke.
So we had our second update of the Flow 50 individual rankings recently, and probably a lot to talk about. Some big movement up front, down at the bottom. Was there anything that you guys saw that you feel like was warranted or not warranted? I mean, where do you think sort of the rankings
People are running fast in August.
Yeah.
What is going on?
Yeah.
Really fast.
This is impressive. We talked a little bit about Horder last week, so I don't want to go too much into that again. But for him, those 3 races back to back to back, he's on fire right now.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple guys, like, looking at the rankings, it's just so tough at this point in the season because there's those guys who are on fire, and then there's the other guys who haven't quite raced yet. And it's kind of like, where do you drop? Who do you put? Where do you go? What do you do? And because you got some guys who just, like, probably should be up there and really starting to throw it together, a great season. So in a couple weeks' time, I think we're really going to have a really good indication on how things kind of can play out and who's moving where and who really has the it factor this year, we'll call it.
I know you and I have our disagreements with speed ratings and the fact that, I mean, you're basing a lot of the movement on how speed ratings determine how these kids run. And I like the fact that these kids are just going out hard, regardless of the course or the competition in the field. But I think there's a little bit of value in seeing kids just run hard at the very top because, they can't determine who they're racing against ultimately. They're only racing by themselves. So a girl like Tyler Schwartz out of Indiana wins her meet, nearly sets a meet record, and is just crushing it at this point. I think she's cut like 26 seconds off her times from the beginning of the year to now over like 3 weeks. I mean, I like the fact that she's palpable improvement over those weeks, which is why we put her number 25. But I mean, you're more metrics based,
right?
And I think we can disagree with this. Like,
I'm more of a facts kind of person, truth, facts.
The times are facts. Times are facts.
She's running slower than she did in this course last year. She's been beaten already this year, but you are right. That 17:34, regardless of the course you're on, as a freshman, is nuts. That's insane. On the boys' side, super interesting matchup in Illinois in the biggest head-to-head race we've seen yet this season between the number 3 and the number 5 in Flow 50 rankings. We haven't seen that kind of a matchup with the top guys so far. And, to Brian's credit, putting out those rankings, it held up, right? Number 3 beat your number 5, Danny Correa. beat Dylan Jacobs by 25 seconds. It wasn't very close. And shout out to Tony Jones, Tony Prepster out there, Illinois MileSplit webmaster. He reached out to the Sandberg coach of Dylan Jacobs to kind of ask him what was going on, because difficult on our end to see, was he cruising, was it coasting, easy season, 25 seconds is a lot, what does that really mean? And he reached out to Coach O'Malley, and his response was he was trying. This was a legitimate race with these guys. And Danny Correa is in phenomenal form. You know, in his rounds, he said that Danny's fitness is on point. They have a lot of respect for him. He's a super tough athlete. And, you know, they're confident in the season plan they have for Dylan. What happened on Saturday was not ideal. It's not what they thought was going to happen. But this is low on their priority list relative to other things they have to accomplish. And lastly, he said, Saturday, this race confirmed what they all knew out there in Illinois. And it's going to be really tough for anyone to beat Danny Correa this season.
Yeah. Definitely be tough to beat him, but I think you also hit on another very good point, is it's still so early in the season. These guys who are running these crazy fast times, who knows what can happen? I've saw it, you know, running cross-country myself. You can burn out by the end of the season. You might be running like garbage in the beginning of the season, but your coach knows how to pace you through these workouts. And like the biggest thing, you know, you find that trust in your coach and what you're doing and believe in it and buy into it, and it can take you a really long way.
Yeah,
buy into it.
That's one thing that I looked at previous weeks is the top 3 individual finishers in NXN last year on the boys' side. Casey Klinger, Brody Hasty, and I'm blanking on the second one.
Sam Morley.
They all ran 8 races or less their entire
ran very few
season. So, and a lot of the boys that finished behind them ran 10 meets or more. I mean, a lot of that saturation of races can affect you. I mean, it can be argued either way, but I feel like 8 races or less for the top 3, that says something about
you pick and choose your battles. You pick and choose where you want to run those fast times, what you want to do, how you want to do it, and really attack it.
I think it's interesting, even with those 3 individuals, Sam Worley basically running unattached. His team wasn't, you know, where it needed. He wasn't running for his team because they needed to score. Where you saw that with Klinger, but the Utah season ends, the state championship is in mid-October, so you aren't forced to race much after that. Brentwood didn't have a big race season either. Where this year's in Dylan Jacobs, Danny Correa's, you don't always have to rely on that either. Sandberg's a good team. We'll see how they develop and whether or not that pressures how many times Dylan's going to have to race. Because when you have to race for your team, you have to race more often because your team needs you, whether it's even to qualify for a state championship in some of these deeper states, in which case you're forced to race more. And by the time you get to NXN, you're just drained. Because you have to be on more weekends in a row. So it'll be interesting, too. We talk about that, you know, with Alex Mayer. He's running through his state championship season. He's never won a title because of the guys he was up against last year. This is his year. He's running a 15:01 now. You know he's going to be running hard through then. We see him as the guy potentially able to upset Brody. Brody's going to pick and choose his races. He's going to peak for NXN, and he's going back to win. We'll see how that impacts those guys.
You're a team like Wayzata. You have 8 guys, super, super strong. You can afford to rest a guy, though.
Right.
Correct?
Yeah.
I mean, not every team has that luxury, like you mentioned, but, like, if you do have the luxury, you know, why not do it?
Right. They don't have to run their top 7 at the Minnesota State Championships to win.
Yeah.
You can rest your guys.